Alright, settle down warriors and history buffs. Today we're doing what many have tried to do, but with a bit more sizzle. We're ranking the most dangerous warriors ever to stomp, gallop, and slice their way through history. And we'll answer the one question that's kept both historians and late-night Reddit lurkers awake. Who's really the deadliest warrior of all time? These warriors didn't just fight battles, they dominated them. They trained, they strategized, and sometimes they straight up terrified their enemies. We're going to break down their weapons, their tactics, and their unique skills, and yeah, we're going to decide who would actually win if they ever squared off. So stay with us, because by the end, we'll have a definitive answer to the history-shattering question. Who's the deadliest of them all? Let's start with the OGs of battlefield grit and unbreakable abs. The Spartan hoplites. Imagine the ultimate army dad. Now multiply him by about 300 and give him an oversized shield, a spear, and a tolerance for pain that would make a pro wrestler look soft. Spartans trained in the agoge, an educational system where recess basically meant fighting, and lunch might have been the same soup every day until you stopped complaining about it. And they were all about teamwork. The phalanx formation was their bread and butter. Locked shields, spears out, and not a single soul-breaking formation. This was a group project with 100% participation. Spartans fought with a mentality that some of us only reserve for Wi-Fi outages. Never back down. At Thermopylae, they held off an army that was basically the ancient world's version of a Marvel crossover event. But as fierce as they were, there's a catch. Once you broke their line, the phalanx was less invincible. So in a free-for-all brawl, they might struggle if someone got behind them. But hey, it's not like that happened often. Next, let's turn our gaze to the samurai of Japan, the ultimate mix of high art and deadly skill. Now, samurai weren't just warriors, they were Japan's aristocrats, trained not only in swordsmanship but also in calligraphy, poetry, and philosophy. It's like if your lawyer was also a black belt poet who could fold a paper crane faster than you could say katana. Speaking of katanas, these swords weren't just for show. Crafted with insane precision, they were sharper than your average Twitter comeback and strong enough to slice through metal. Then there's Bushido, their code of honor, which they took extremely seriously. It was like being sworn into an elite club with a few minor rules, like never dishonor yourself, your family, or your daimyo, and oh, if things get bad, maybe fall on your sword. They were also skilled archers, adding a bit of ranged flair to their sword-wielding artistry. But here's the rub. Samurai fought with a sense of honor that would limit them in an anything-goes battle royale. While they're busy checking if everyone's being fair, they might just get ambushed from behind. Now, meet the Mongol warriors, the horse-riding nightmare fuel of Eurasia. These guys were relentless. Led by Genghis Khan, they didn't just conquer territories, they stormed through entire continents like they were completing a hostile takeover of the ancient world. The Mongols were practically born on horseback, and their weapon of choice? The composite bow, which they could shoot accurately while riding at full gallop. Imagine a drive-by but like 800 years ago. They would lure you in with feigned retreats, baiting armies into traps, and then circling back with a full-on ambush. With tactics that relied on speed, surprise, and sheer brutality, the Mongols were unstoppable. Plus, they weren't above a little psychological warfare. News of a Mongol advance was enough to send cities into full panic mode. They didn't need heavy armor because they'd already won half the battle by scaring the living daylights out of their enemies. But, and this is a big but, Mongols were best in open terrain. Put them in a tight space or bog them down, and some of their tactics lose their edge. Moving west, let's talk about the Roman legionary, the epitome of organization and practicality. Romans knew how to turn humans into war machines. Equipped with the gladius, a short sword that wasn't much for showing off but was perfect for close combat, Roman legionaries also carried the pilum, a spear that bent on impact so the enemy couldn't throw it back. Now that's some practical, middle management thinking. Legionaries moved in formations as precise as a high school marching band. Their famous testudo, or tortoise formation, created a wall of shields that could march right through a hailstorm of arrows. And their secret weapon, discipline. If the battle wasn't going their way, they'd just pivot tactics. No drama, just results. But here's the thing, while they were excellent in formation, they weren't exactly known for improvisation in chaotic melees. Now let's add a little chaos into the mix with the Viking warriors. Vikings didn't come to conquer, they came to pillage, plunder, and maybe do a little property damage while they were at it. Known for their iconic axes and shields, they'd sail down the coastlines of Europe, spring out of their longships, and get straight to business. Some Vikings would even work themselves into a berserker rage, a trance-like state that would make even a football linebacker reconsider their life choices. With their battle cry and relentless fury, Vikings weren't particularly concerned with fancy tactics. They charged in, weapon swinging, powered by something primal. And for the record, they weren't just raiders, they were explorers and traders too. But a battlefield free for all, that was their comfort zone. Their weakness though, armor was limited, and their lack of strategy might leave them vulnerable to more organized groups. But hey, when you're in rage mode, who's thinking about armor? So after all that, who takes the crown? Let's break it down. The Spartans have unmatched discipline and an indomitable phalanx, but their formation would struggle in a free-for-all. The samurai bring skill and precision with the katana, but their sense of honor might hold them back. The Mongols are practically unbeatable on open ground, but they're vulnerable in tight spaces. The Romans are disciplined and adaptable, but they're used to organized warfare. And the Vikings are fearless berserkers, but they lack the organization of other warriors. So here's the verdict: if it's a straight-up free-for-all melee on open ground, the Mongol warriors have the edge. Their speed, versatility, and psychological warfare would make them nearly unstoppable. Imagine it: while Spartans try to lock into formation, samurai consider their honor code, and Romans attempt to organize, the Mongols would already be circling, raining arrows from horseback, and breaking up the ranks. And if they manage to turn it into a chase, game over. But if we put these warriors in an enclosed space, it's a different story. Here it's Spartan territory. Their phalanx formation would be almost impenetrable in a narrow space, like a canyon or valley. The Romans might stand a chance too, but only if they could organize fast enough. So there you have it. In a wide open brawl, our money's on the Mongols. But give the Spartans a little less elbow room, and they could crush the competition. So, who do you think deserves the title of history's deadliest warrior? Drop your answer in the comments and let the debate begin. If you're captivated by stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to Ancient Perspectives for more epic tales of history's greatest figures and moments. Hit the bell icon to never miss an adventure into the past.